Welcome to the Hostile Zone.
Use your voice, somebody hears you.
Welcome to the Hostile Zone. Good evening, America. I'm Andrew Cinotti, and this is the Hostile Zone. Tonight, we're stepping onto another battlefield. Most people refuse to even acknowledge because it doesn't just look like your everyday conflict. It looks like true success. The flawless report card, the undefeated season, the child who never falters, never complains, and never, ever will ask for a break. We call them gifted. We call them driven. We call them proof that our hard work as parents has paid off. But what is that relentless drive? Not ambition, but merely armor. And we know something about armor on this show. What if every accolade was dependent upon immense amount of pressure? What if every praise we offer becomes the weight of a cross they can't bear to carry? Right now in this country, perfectionism is grippingly nearly a third of our children. A third of our children. Unreal. We got to really I can't wait till we get into that. Anxiety is affecting 1 in 5 school-age children. 1 in 5. 1 in 5. And mental health emergencies among younger children are rising, and they are rising fast, America. Pay attention to this episode. This is high-functioning anxiety. Not loud, not obvious, but steady, quiet, and extremely corrosive. It takes sleep, it takes joy, and it takes confidence. And it replaces it with pressure, expectation, and a fear of just never being adequate or being enough. We are not raising strong kids. We are, in some cases, raising exhausted children, our future exhausted before they even see tomorrow. And if we don't confront it now, folks, if we don't confront it now, we are just wasting our time and our moments, and yet passing on another generation to suffer. We risk shaping adults who have never learned that their worth is far more than what we see in your standard everyday performance. Tonight, we're going to confront that reality direct, hard, and in your face, as we always do, because this is the Hostile Zone. But I would be remiss if I did not introduce Miss Bianca. Before we bring in tonight's guest, I have to do it.
Okay.
I want to bring in someone who sees it where it really happens, inside the American home. She sees what's going on beneath the surface, and she sees the small changes, and she's in tune and in tone with them. So you have to tune in there.
Oh, that's clever.
She sees the things that our kids don't always say out loud, but they might say to each other, or they just might say with how they breathe, move, and the facial expression. And when it comes to understanding what is real, she just doesn't miss. Miss Bianca Sea, like the ocean, SEA. Well, Miss Bianca, are you ready to enter another battlefield tonight?
Absolutely. I am, Eric. And a lot of kids look fine on the inside, but they're not.
No, they're really not, and it's something that, I'm glad that this guest is here, and we're going to have a great conversation. She really is on the forefront of working with this combating. She's a soldier on the front line combating this crisis. And you know what? I'm going to say it's not even a crisis. It's an epidemic. It's an epidemic, and it's part of the rising close downfall of our nation. Because if we cannot protect who is going to lead and drive us forward for tomorrow, where are we going to be? Where are we going to be? So you are here with the Hostile Zone. I'm Eric A. Cinotti, and this is Miss Bianca Sea. We are an iHeart Prime featured show, available all across iHeart Radio, iHeart Media, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Amazon Music, Audible, TuneIn Radio, and every single major podcast platform. So be sure to check us out. We are worldwide. We are a force to reckon. So let's talk a little bit about our guest tonight.
Okay.
America, tonight's guest is working on the front lines tirelessly of something many people have just truly underestimated. Some of us actually know and experience and maybe can talk personally to that. She knows firsthand in every facet of her life about childhood anxiety. She is a school counselor and with over a decade of experience working with children in some of the roughest neighborhoods, working with children who have experienced some of the most devastating experiences in their lives. And then on top of that, dealing with the children that are forced to achieve things that maybe they can just never achieve. She works directly with them and she is there during their most formative years, the years that truly will impact the adults that they will become. She is also an award winning author whose books focus on real challenges that kids face: anxiety, friendship, struggles, pressure, and emotional development. Much needed things, much needed things. Her work gives children something that they never, ever get early enough: language about how they feel and the tools in their toolbox on how to deal with it. Her latest book, My Anxiety is Messing Up Things, which, by the way, was a wonderful read,
It
even for
was.
an adult. I found it to be great. Making Things Up follows a high performing student named Oscar, a kid doing everything on the right, on the outside, but struggling deeply internally with pressure, lack of sleep, and true fear of failure, fear of letting people down. And what makes this work different is not what it's about, but what we're about to make people aware of and what she makes people aware of. It gives kids practical ways to understand what's happening with them, what's happening in their home, and what's happening inside of them, and how they can manage it in simple, easy ways. He wrote it as an easy, soft read, yet fun, some jokes and enjoyable. I think it is great. I really truly do. Her name is Jennifer Licate, like Cinotti, but Licate. Welcome to the show, Jennifer Licate. Welcome to the hostile. Don't let's bring her in.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Hello, Jennifer.
Our pleasure, Miss Licate. How are you today?
Good. How are you today?
Good. So you're from the mean streets of Philly, I understand.
That's right. It's the suburbs, but close.
Right. Yeah. Welcome to the show. Really,
Thank you.
I hope that the intro was good. I want to give you, before we chat for a second and get into the crux and meat and potatoes of what's here. As always, we never share the notes or the questions with any guest. We don't set people up, and that's why people trust us to come here. But whatever I didn't include in the intro, any quick questions you have for us, you got the floor for a minute or so. Go for it. It's yours. Take it away, Licate.
Great. Thank you. So yes, like you said, I've been a school counselor for 14 years. I'm currently working at a school as more of a career counselor, so still working in that field of counseling. And I've worked with students kindergarten through high school. And that's what prompted me to write these books, because I saw a need when I was working in the elementary schools to write some books like these. So it's been another passion project of mine to write these books and have my voice get outside of the school that I'm working in and hopefully touch more children than I would be able to just working in one school. So it's been
You
really
absolutely will do that. Segment 1, what this really looks like. Jennifer, one of the most important points in your work is anxiety in children doesn't always look obvious, especially in kids who are doing so well on the surface. From your experience, how often are kids who seem the most put together actually the ones struggling the most inside? And why? And here's the caveat to that question. So why is that? And then why are professionals like you and others, not you because you see it, but so many others not seeing it and it's going unnoticed?
So it's hard to qualify into words how many students who are really high performing are struggling inside if they're not showing it. But it is something that perfectionism is largely something that adults and something that other kids look up to, because they see these children achieving so well and doing so well, and anything they try, they're putting their best foot forward and always performing really well. So it is hard for educators and other adults in their life to see that they are putting such intense pressure on themselves, and that's why they're excelling so well. So that's why it's really good for parents to know about that and to make sure that you're watching your child and making sure that you're putting parameters on them and making sure they're getting enough sleep, that they're not staying up late all the time to study
Right.
after doing sports for a long period of time. So there is things that adults in their life can watch for, but as an adult that interacts with them during the school day, you might not know the pressure that's going on behind the scenes, and that they're kind of spreading themselves too thin and not having time to just have
Right.
downtime and regroup.
Yeah.
And there are signs, I mean, the irritability and the sleepless nights, there's signs of anxiety that adults that care about children can look for.
I wanted to add a piece to that, and you kind of covered it, and I want to hit you again a little harder for it. And
Okay.
I want to add a piece. I want to add a piece to it. Why are school educators and professionals and all these wonderful you and I are highly educated individuals with advanced post degrees and stuff. How are people not seeing this? I see this in a very nice way because we do miss things. Um, and I guess want to add a little piece to that. Should there be training in the classroom for people, the professionals, to notice that? And then the one piece I wanted to add is I think
that's a
social
good
media is a
question.
play this, because I think also besides the parent, they're looking at everybody else with a fake life online and
Yeah.
thinking that that's where I need to be. And we're going to
Yeah.
have plenty of time to get into that in the conversation, but I just had to put that out there with the fake influencer world.
Yeah, that's major
Yeah.
pressure.
So yeah, I basically got what I said. Is that why is there training? Should there be training? And how are they actually missing it? And the social media piece at your
I,
locality.
of course, believe there should be training because I think mental health is so important. And I think that no matter what you achieve and succeed at, if you don't feel okay in yourself, it's not gonna
Mm,
it's not gonna be meaningful to you. It's just gonna
right,
feel like another mountain you have to cross. And
right.
you're not going to be
Yeah,
proud of yourself for doing that because it's still not going to be enough. You're still going to want to go on to the next thing. So of course, feel like there should be training for teachers to recognize, but also for teachers to teach children how to recognize in themselves too, to know that you're not always going to be number one. And there's a lot of avenues to success, and there's a lot of room for successful people in the world, not just these top one or two in your class that you're experiencing.
right.
And the way that I feel like people miss it is because our society celebrates so much the top achievers. And I feel like we put that on our children
You mean we
too.
shouldn't be giving participation trophies?
We
You had to
should
know the show you
probably
were coming on. I was gonna, I was gonna
I,
get that one out there.
I mean, it's good to recognize accomplishments. And I feel like
Or
if you don't
trying. You should recognize
that,
trying, right? You should
yeah,
recognize putting yourself out there, right? Yeah.
you should recognize that, but you should also recognize those who excel because it makes it more meaningful when they get
Right.
the award for excelling. But I feel like I hear
Yes.
adults joke all the time, like, oh, I just don't sleep. And it's like, well, of course we think that it's okay for children to just push themselves so much if we as adults value that in
Right.
ourselves. So I think that's how adults miss it, is that everyone celebrates these top achievers. And like you said earlier, they make you as a parent feel like you're doing everything right. If your child is really successful, they make the school and the teachers feel like
Right.
the
And the
material is
parent is
really
living
good.
through the child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reliving their failure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
Bianca.
but the biggest lesson too, when you win, you have to learn how to lose as well, because that
Right.
shows character
You can't win if
and
you
a
didn't
test
lose.
of how you
Yeah.
handle that.
Right. I mean, winning is losing because every time you
Mhm.
lose, you got a little bit better at something, and you're able to win. And you have to have winners, right, Jennifer? Because we have degrees. We have degrees. We've achieved things. We have credentials,
Right.
licenses, and stuff. You have to win, but we all had to lose. We all had to get the
Yeah.
old kick in the gonads or whatever, and whatever
I
for female, whatever. And
I
like
agree.
you have to. Yeah. So yeah, it's
But
tough.
the hard part is, even if you win, the hard part is staying up there.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a
We're
lot
gonna
of
get into
people.
that, and I kind of
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you about Oscar on that, but that's later. Because
Okay.
like, how do you float on the top forever? That's a
Right.
And that's actually already you didn't even she didn't even read these questions. I spent hours preparing these, by the way.
It just comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have.
It's good. That means we're on point.
I do have one question, right?
No, it's on time. The question now, Licate. She's on point now. She's on point, Licate.
I am.
She's a Jersey girl, so she's kind of lost. She's on the beach right now. She's at Jenks.
I gotta be at Jays or Jenks. Shout out. Hi. Yeah. Okay. So, Jennifer, what does that look like at home, and what are small signs parents miss?
So I mentioned a little bit of the signs before, and I think it's when you see your child putting a lot of pressure on themselves and never feeling happy with their accomplishments. That's one sign. Another sign is sleeplessness, having trouble falling asleep. Another sign is, which is not as noticeable or easily attributed to anxiety, is when kids are irritable, because sometimes they have so much going on in their mind that then when another expectation is put on them, they feel like it's just one more thing, and they kind of react. Yeah. And they overreact for the situation, and parents or adults might be like, I just asked you to put away your shoes, or I just asked you this or that. And it's because they were probably thinking about 4 or 5 other things, and they can't calm down and think through their thoughts, and they just don't want another expectation that they have to do. And then, of course, the physical symptoms of anxiety, as far as headaches and stomach aches, and they can't be attributed to a medical reason.
And that's great. I love that. I love that you hit that. You're so eloquent in that. Over-medicated population, underdiagnosed in some areas, overdiagnosed in other areas. But station identification. You're listening to The Hostile Zone. I'm Eric A. Cinotti, an iHeart Prime feature show available across iHeart Radio, iHeart Media, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Audible, TuneIn, and your favorite podcast platform. We are everywhere, folks. Okay, so Jennifer, we're going to be moving into segment 2, reality versus perception. Okay, Jennifer, this hits a lot of people listening right now, and I hope if people are in the car listening to us or wherever they are enjoying the show, that they're hearing it, because it's definitely hitting a lot of people. Oscar looks like the kid that everybody wants. Everybody wants that kid. Everybody's like, that is the son that I want. That is everything that I wanted to be and everything I really thought I was going to become. And he's there, and he's going to go to the next level than me. That's Oscar, right? He's the top student. He's the A student. He's going to go to Harvard. He's going to go to West Point. He's going to be a West Pointer because he's an athlete and he's a scholar. He reliably shows up. He's everything you want, but he's overwhelmed and barely holding anything together. And he's going home at night, not telling this to anybody. And all I have to say is because it matters. There have been many times in my personal life where everything on the outside looked exactly the way it was supposed to be. Disciplined, focused, and moving forward. But behind that, the pressure just wasn't being seen by many. The stress that just wasn't able to talk about. And, sometimes, you get hit hard with things that change your life. And it changes your life and nobody else knows. Not on the outside, because they see me for who I am. And they see what I do and how I help people and the things that I do. Mm-hmm. But it takes a little piece of you and you have to move forward. And it's inside. And it's a piece of me that'll never come back. Yet I have to keep doing what I feel my mission is, my cause, my purpose, regardless of what has been damaged and hurt. I have to keep going. I have to put up a performance and show up every day for all the people that count on me, and to show up for myself, because I worked hard to have the things that I have, regardless of what people will say, do, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So most people will never know that. They'll take a look and they'll stand here and talk to me and they have no idea. So how much of what I'm seeing right now in my stuff that I deal with is what's going on with kids, with the pressure. And it feels like they're going to break and they just don't know. And even when something inside of them actually has broken or has not broken or already has, what do you do? I mean, what do you do? How do you handle it? It's a tough piece. I threw it on you. It's a lot. take a moment to breathe, Licate, and go forward.
It is a tough piece, and it's child by child as far as how much they deal with and when they break, or if they turn to coping strategies that are unhealthy to deal with the pressure. So it's hard to say what's gonna be the tipping point for each child, and different children have the ability to handle stress differently, or different levels of stress. So there's definitely times where children are dealing with a lot and not showing it, like you're saying. And that's when it's important that the adults in their life, the teachers, the counselors, the parents, any other family members, just offer their support and offer that they're there, because you don't know who a child is going to want to turn to in those times and feel comfortable turning to. So to offer that, even if the child doesn't take you up on it for a couple months or a couple years, who knows, they know that you're a safe person that they can talk to when they're going through times that are troubling.
I know you have a follow-up, but you hit a trigger point here, and I think we would be remiss if we didn't address it right now. You don't know who they're going to go to for that guidance or that moment.
Right.
And sadly, sometimes it's the wrong person who then will manipulate and utilize that moment to take advantage. And that is a scary thing. It's another episode, obviously, but I feel like they're going to go somewhere. And, it's always the piece of crap. It's always the last one. And it's so difficult, but I don't know. I just had to say that because I feel somebody at home is thinking that, and they're saying, wow, that's how my kid ended up in the spot with the wrong person. It happens,
Right. Yeah. Especially if they feel like everyone's putting a lot of pressure on them and no one's listening to them, and no one's listening to how they're feeling, they might turn to their peers to say, like, oh, you get it. And, oh, I don't have to try so hard. And this is an environment where I can just kind of chill out and no one expects anything of me. So you're right. It's important to see the child as a whole person rather than just all the expectations all the time, because everyone needs some downtime and everyone needs to fail and be given grace when they do fail, because we all fail.
Intramural sports, non-competitive intramural after-school sports. This way, nobody's winning for a trophy. You went and played. I did it in school. I went to Catholic school, good Italian like yourself, Licate. So I went to Catholic school and I did all that stuff. And then we had, hockey once for time, baseball, and it was just filling when I wasn't playing. So there was no trophy to be had, and it was a place to let loose. Okay, Miss Bianca. Sorry.
Yeah, I had the same thing too.
Yeah. You all have the same kind of background here. So,
exactly. Jennifer, why do kids who look fine feel so overwhelmed?
I think because they hold a lot of weight of being the best on their shoulders. Like when you talk about kids who are perfectionists, they expect so much of themselves and they're never satisfied with what they do. If they mess up even just a little bit or just miss the mark a little bit, they feel like they failed and it wasn't enough and they could have done better. They should have done better. And they look at that one or two other kids in the school who are achieving more than them, and they expect that of themselves, as opposed to taking some time and celebrating all of their accomplishments. So I think just having that mindset of the next, it creates anxiety in them, and they feel like they can't ever just kind of be and be proud of themselves, because it is important for kids who tend to have perfectionist personalities to force themselves to take some time and be proud of themselves instead of just expecting more all the time and expecting perfection all the time.
Right. And you said something I want to add to that, because you hit a good point again. That's why I wanted us to flow like this. Teachers are sometimes the worst enemy in this, because they will say, "Oh, look at good Johnny. Look at this. Look at that."
Right.
And how about I know in Catholic school and for me, and maybe you can relate, Licate, from your area too. I'm sure you probably did. And especially the younger years, the formative years, they had the reading groups, and you
Right.
had the color books, and some kid was a yellow, some was an orange, some was a red.
Yes.
Well, they don't tell you, but we freaking find out.
Yeah.
We find out, right? Oh, you had to leave to go to the special class, and
Yeah.
then one was going to the special class because they were not as good, and the other one was going to the gifted class. So
Right.
I think that the schools truly are part of the problem.
Yeah.
And we were all obviously of the same generation, so we probably experienced things that some of these kids can't explain.
Yes.
But we seem the pendulum has gone from isolationism, and then the big term mainstream, right? There's your word, you know that one, right?
Yes.
Mainstream, and the kids, right? Like this mainstream, right? So it was isolationism, resource room, this spec ed, small bus. We've heard it all, right? And then now everybody's mainstream. Well, the pendulum swung so far one direction to the other. Where's the middle? Where's the bell curve? Where's the middle? What is proper? You seem to have a strong handle on it. That's why I'm enjoying this conversation.
Okay.
That's why I deflect that statement to you.
That's why the bell curve is important, because there are kids that are going to be in the middle, and that's okay. And that's the important thing for kids to understand. It's okay to not be at the very end of the curve and gifted. We all have different abilities. We all have different skills. We all have different talents. And to celebrate who you are and what your talents are, I feel like is so important, rather than just expecting yourself to be at the top. There's a reason it's the bell curve. It's because statistically, that's how it works out. So everyone in the class can't expect themselves to be in the gifted population. That's just not how it works. So I do a lot with that. Like, there's like a lot of ways to success. Like, if you love working with animals and you're not that talented in the sciences, you still can work with animals. You don't just have to be a veterinarian.
There's a job. There's a job for everybody and everything.
Yes. Right. Yes. That's what I'm saying.
And and have you ever watched the TV show Dirty Jobs, Mike Rowe?
Yes.
Remember that show?
Show.
That's a great show. That was
So
great
good.
for people to see, because
Yes.
there's a job for everybody. And here we are in 2026, that we are running out of tradespeople. We are running out of people that know how to be electricians and plumbers. And folks, if you're out there, I'm telling you right now, you go get yourself a BS liberal arts degree, or go to, depending on where you live, if you can get into the pipe fitters union, electrical union, you will make far more than the guy wearing a white shirt and a tie all day with his fancy garbage degree. That doesn't mean anything. Now, granted, I have several degrees, so I understand that. So whatever, I'm a two-faced talker here. But truth is, we're running out of those people. And I think that show was a great show, saying we need somebody to clean your pipes. You know, when the power goes out, people freak.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that you can do really well for yourself.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Yeah. I mean, no one said you got to dig ditches. I mean, come on. I mean, a little, I'm a military guy. I fix things. I surprise people all the time. I take things apart, and they're like, you can do, like, your computer a little bit ago. Like, oh.
Yes.
People's mind, like, how do you know about system settings on computers remotely?
You're the strong guy. You pick things up.
I pick things up. I put them down. I get thrown out of Planet Fitness. All right, are we good? Did you have a follow-up for? You did, right? Or no?
Yeah. You actually have one.
No, that's you. That's you. You're up. I'm about to move to segment 3. You're up. I think we just got into so much.
I was so into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Jennifer, how can a parent tell if their kid is pushing too hard?
No, that's a tough one. Yeah, there it is. That's a one. Take a deep breath, Licate. Think about this one, because people are listening right now. America's listening.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can tell by looking at their child and seeing if their child is displaying signs of anxiety and stress, because I feel like for one child might not be too hard for another child, and to always give your child the chance to say that it's too much, that they've taken too much on, to be open to those conversations. But I think the signs that they would look for are just a disposition where they seem very hurried and very anxious and very irritable and not relaxed, and they're not enjoying anything. They're just going from activity to activity and not taking enjoyment. I mean, they're a kid. They should be enjoying their
Right.
activities.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
think we
of
forgot
course,
about that a lot.
Yeah.
watching for the physical symptoms, like I said, stomach aches, headaches, that can't be medically explained. Talking about fears or being overly negative about possibly not being successful or possibly missing the top mark of whatever they're trying to accomplish. I think some of those things offer parents an opportunity to have conversations and also to intervene if their child has taken too much on. And that's why I feel like the books are super helpful, because sometimes topics like anxiety are such a big topic and you don't know how to start the conversation with your child.
Mhm.
So sometimes parents shy away from it because you don't want to scare your child into,
Right.
Sometimes parents think they're going to create some kind of mental health
Right.
diagnosis
Yes.
by
Yeah.
talking
Right.
about it, which is not true. So these
Right.
books are a great way it's written on
Like
the
kind of,
child's level, and then it gives you conversation points, and you're not having this fear like you're going to scare your child or put ideas into your child's head. And what I say to parents all the time, use data. Say, the reason I'm thinking you're anxious is because every time it's time to go to soccer, you say you feel like you're sick to your stomach. That makes me think
Right.
something's happening at soccer. Maybe you're feeling
hmm.
anxious. And kids will correct you if you're wrong. If it's not anxiety, they'll say, "No, you know what? I just really don't like the coach," or "I really don't like soccer anymore." But
Right.
whatever it is, you're opening up the conversation and you're giving them the chance to talk about what's going on. So even if you're wrong, I think it's a great starting point to point out what you're noticing that doesn't feel like who they are. It doesn't feel like their normal characteristics.
Well said, Jennifer. Really, really insightful, very comprehensive and in detail, yet understandable. I
Thank
thought it was
you.
great. Are we ready to flow right into segment 3? Are we good with that?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's do it. We're going to bring it on to segment 3. All right, Jen? All right.
Okay.
So segment 3 is pressure and the expectation. Jennifer, a lot of pressure doesn't just come from negativity. It comes from the actual praise itself, the overpraise, whether
Yeah.
it be over the top, right, or just regular praise. Um, from being told you're the best, you're great, you're the most reliable kid in the world, you're the kid I can count on. That has an effect on the kid to now always be reliable, and it has an effect on the kid that can't be so reliable.
Mhm.
So it's a pendulum for the people that can be counted on and uncounted on. So how does that kind of reinforcement turn into internal pressure that a child feels that they can never ever step away from, and sadly maybe even into adulthood?
So that's what they have found, is that the best way to praise a child is to praise their work to get to the goal as opposed to the accomplishment. So instead of saying you're so smart, it's best to praise a child with, you worked so hard on that, you studied really hard for that test. Look at how well you did. I'm proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. So making sure that the child attaches their work and the effort, not just the end result, that you're so smart, you're so athletic, because then kids do sometimes feel pigeonholed, that then they have to always be that kid. They always have to be the kid that earns the best grades or is super athletic. And then they're afraid in adulthood to try something new, to try maybe a leisure sport or, something out of the box that they haven't done before, because they just have these expectations of themselves that they're always the best. So, like you said, it can backfire. It can backfire by praising them too much. So it's important to look at their effort and talk about that, and talk about that you're proud of them for putting the time into it and caring, and for having a goal, and for accomplishing
Yes.
a goal that's important to them.
Quantifying the, because I think, and I was chomping at the bit here to kind of jump in on you, but not cut you off on that one, because
Okay.
how many people tell their kid they're the best? Every kid is beautiful to their mother.
Yeah.
You're not all attractive. I'm sorry, people. Not everybody's attractive. Not everybody's going to be in a magazine, on a TV. You're not going to get the hottest girl or the hottest guy. You're just not. It is what it is. Some of you are fat. Some of you are thin. Some of you are ugly. It is what it is. Right?
I don't love that.
Let's be real. Let's be real. We keep it real on the show. And we're not saying you have to go out and say that, but don't lie to your children. That's why I was saying quantifying. I was making that fun a little bit, making a joke about it, because you're obviously not going to tell that to your child. But the fact is, it's like a face only a mother could love, right? Let's be real. So let's not lie. Like, don't fluff it up. If your kid is not able to do something, praise them for trying and say, how about being good? Try something else to be good at. Not everybody's going to be great at everything. And that's all I wanted to put in there, because we lie consistently. We don't praise enough, and we overpraise. I think it goes back to the participation trophies, honestly.
And I think it makes kids believe their parents when they're honest with them and say, you tried really hard for that. That's okay that you got a B. You studied hard.
A B is above average too. A B is above average. Yeah.
Right.
Coming from the kid that had D's, right? Until they graded on the curve, and I decided to actually take a test so everybody would fail because they were grading on my number. Those are fun stories for later.
Yeah, that does sound like a good story.
I've done it. It's great. Good times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I heard you're about to jump in. You got to be more aggressive because she's an Italian chick here. She's gonna start. We got to chomp on each other here. We got to chomp on each other. Got to jump in there.
Well, just wanted to know, there's other ways of telling your child in a way. If you want to tell them the truth, don't be so you know what I mean? There's other ways to communicate to make them feel better. Be like, hey, I understand you look up to this person.
Right.
Why don't you try doing this? I can always help you. If you ever want to ask me questions, I can always try to help you and see what I can do to make you reach that goal.
But I think I'm going to go along with that because I want to give this to you. And I just want to add on to that. And it's coming to you for the expert opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that then the parents feel like they're not giving the due whatever to their child, and they feel like they're not being a good parent by not saying you're great or not. I think it becomes an emotional drain for everybody.
It can be.
And I think having somebody to look up to and saying, I'm a big fan of Mike Tyson. Shout out to Mike. Gonna get involved. I'm involved with some youth thing that he's doing. He's into kids a lot right now. And I'm getting involved in a project. Yeah, he has a really great thing. We could talk offline, and I'm getting involved with that. And Mike is from my neighborhood. So anyway, he has a great quote online. And he's very, very, very articulate, quite articulate, and much more intelligent than people actually would say. And he said, nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to win.
Right.
Nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to be the champ. He said, I wake up and I look at somebody and say, wow, I want to be like that guy. That's what I want to be. And that's literally like a quote from you, Mike. There it is. I didn't get it directly right, but MJ, his publicist, will email me and give me a negative on that. Sorry, MJ. But anyway, everybody wants to be somebody. And I kind of used the quote from him before. Everybody has to lose to win. Everybody has to lose to win. You got to get knocked down so you know how to win. And that's what I want to put that in, because I think that's a good piece. And I didn't know if you had that in any of your books, or if you planned on more like a person for people to follow. Now it's back on you.
No, but I like that idea.
I want a piece of the pie. I want a piece of the pie was my idea. I'll write that section for you.
About the pressure to fit in, and about the whole feeling of you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay.
Yes.
So I do like that idea of we all have different abilities. We all have different talents. Work on your talent and what feels genuine to you. And there's a lot of room for a lot of success. You don't have to be exactly like the other person. And that's why I feel like parents can be honest with their kids. If you don't make a team, there's still other things you can do. It's not like that defines you as a person for your whole life.
And nothing defines you for a whole life. Tomorrow defines you. How you wake up today and how you stand up after getting kicked down yesterday. That's who you're defined by. And I find that your books are great like that.
They are.
And they just have that. But I wanted to know if you had that. Because I think they need that role model. And that's why I wanted to ask you that, because I wasn't sure if that was something you had in mind. I wasn't calling you out on it by any means. I just was thinking that's what Oscar needed. I thought and that's why I put a little personal, because I know what was going through Oscar's head, and I felt Oscar, and that's why I really, really put a lot of thought into today's questions. And I just said, maybe Oscar needed a Mike Tyson to look. Maybe he needed somebody, Mike Tyson or Derek Jeter, who you are, us northern people, we talk like, oh, you're a Phillies friend. Never mind on that. But you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. It was just a thought. And we're ready in for the station ID. Okay.
Yeah.
You're watching the Hostile Zone. I'm Eric A. Cinotti, right here on the Hostile Zone, an iHeart Prime featured show available across all of iHeart Radio and iHeart Media. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Amazon Music, Audible, TuneIn Radio, and every single major podcast platform. Follow us. We are with Jennifer Licate, specialist, beautiful person, beautiful child person. She's going to tell you how to not let your kid be screwed up for life. Segment 4. That's why I said that because segment 4 is when behavior changes. So don't let them be screwed for life. See, I think ahead. I was planned for that one. You thought that was just spur of the moment. It wasn't. All right. So when behavior truly changes, because it's going to change, right, at some point.
Right.
So, you pointed out that anxiety often shows up through small changes, pulling away. And I'm quoting from you now. All right, I'm quoting from you. So you pointed out, and get me if I got it wrong. I did put the time in, but everybody makes mistakes, right?
Yeah.
You pointed out that they are small changes, and you have to really pay attention. Pulling away, irritability, losing interest in things that they once loved. So why is recognizing those early changes so critical and crucial to preventing the long-term impact, which we will get into the long-term later, but why is that so crucial?
It's so important because, first of all, it allows a parent to have a good relationship with their child. If they are noticing those small changes, their child feels seen and feels like they can talk about what's going on. And you can intervene before it gets to a level where the child feels like they almost have to quit an activity or have damaged social relationships because they've been so stressed or because they didn't know how to work through a problem, where if you intervened early, you could have helped them see some possible options and made the situation a little bit more manageable for them. So I feel like there's a lot of reasons why it's important to intervene early. They're kids, so they don't have the life experience to know, okay, let me step back from this. Let me figure out what are. To them, it feels like it's all moving so fast and they don't have control over so many pieces of their life. So this just feels like another thing that maybe is moving too fast for them. And then all of a sudden they're in a situation that they feel like they've made bad for themselves, either through being too stressed and lashing out, which is what Oscar did in the book. He made his friendships negative by always being in a bad mood and lashing out at his friends because he's so stressed. So it's important.
Do you think he did that on purpose? I thought he did. Did you? I mean, obviously you wrote this. So I'm going to just ask. Do you think he did that on purpose to distance himself from having to worry about additional things by isolating himself from his friends?
I thought I had him do it as he just wasn't in the mood to chit chat with them. He was so stressed and so in his head that he really wasn't in the mood like to laugh and joke. Like it didn't feel funny to him because he just was stressed, just wanted to get with. So that's how I had it, that he was separate from them because he was feeling the stress and the pressure more and wasn't even enjoying the little moments before the school day started, just thinking about the stress of all the academics coming up.
That totally made me think of how it is.
And I think as we're talking more, I'm getting more thoughts. But I know you got something to ask.
Yes, Jennifer, if a kid stops wanting to do something they love, how serious is that?
Because kids do change consistently anyway, right? So it's a fine line. Yeah.
And that's why with kids, there's not really any rules. You as a parent knows your child the best. So I would take it from the parent's standpoint to have a conversation with the child and get some information. Why don't you like that anymore? When did it start changing? Like to take athletics for an example, is it this certain team? Is the team too much pressure and maybe you never wanted to get to that level, even though you thought you wanted to get to that level? And it felt like such a reward to get offered a spot on this team. Maybe it's too competitive and the kids are too competitive and the coaches are a little bit harping on the kids and making it a negative environment. So I would have a conversation with your child to see, is it really that they changed interests and they don't enjoy that anymore? Which happens, right? I mean, sometimes kids are in Girl Scouts and then they decide, I don't really like that anymore. I don't have enough time to do everything. I want to drop some of the activities that I don't have time to do. It could be something like that, or it could be something that maybe a situation is too much pressure for them and they want to drop down to a more enjoyable level, or a time where you could intervene and help them if they do have a goal to be really competitive in whatever activity they're doing. That's a time to introduce coping skills to your child so they know how to deal with some of those pressures and know how to have healthy coping strategies so that they can perform their best and so that they can sit in this accomplishment that they've earned for themselves, be on the team that they worked so hard to get onto, by using the coping skills so that they can, work with that. Like, I'm not one of the best kids on the team yet. I still need to work to that. I have now a new goal that I have to work towards that feels like a lot, but the other goals felt like a lot when they first started too. So as a parent, there's a lot of places you can go when your child's saying they don't want to do an activity. And that's why it's really important to have the conversations and listen to your child and see why they're requesting that.
Make good sense on that. And you made me think of something else. What we always tell people, winners, cheaters never prosper, right? And never quit, never give up. And I'm the first one, military guy, and all the stuff I've done, never quit, never give up. And I never say give up your dream. So I'm going to pontificate this point very clear to the folks out there listening. Never give up your dream. Your dream is your dream, and go for it, because anything's possible. Truthfully,
Right.
I really honestly believe in that. But it's okay to quit also.
Yeah.
There is a time, it is okay to quit if you don't want to do it. You truly are not feeling it's going to benefit you. You're not feeling that you're not going in the direction you want, and it's not for you. Don't live somebody else's dream, and don't keep doing something. And I help me, Jennifer, make sure I'm saying this correctly. Okay. It's okay to quit, but also love your dream, love yourself, do the best you can, and never give up your dream. But it's okay, I guess, to, like, back in the day, drinking, right? Know when to say when. But I even don't even feel good saying it that way, because never say when. Say when you want to say when. Because you suck at a sport or whatever, keep going if that's what you want to do. But if you want to bow out, it's nothing wrong with it. And I think parents, teachers, coaches especially, need to recognize this. So I don't know. Did I say it right? Help me say it in a more sensitive, educational way for the children out there, that my parents that are listening. They're sometimes pushing their children too hard and the child wants to quit.
Yeah, I do feel like you said it well. And I feel like as parents, we want to have these absolutes, like you never can quit. But it's like you do have to look at the situation and see how it's affecting your child. If it's affecting their self-esteem, if it's affecting their mental health, then it is okay for them to quit. And the whole idea that there's lots of roads to success. So maybe your child always wanted to be on the basketball team and they weren't offered a spot. Well, they could be the manager for the basketball team, or they could play in a different league, or, play on a different team, or, do pickup games with their friends. So I think it's very important to let your child know that to not give up on their dreams, because like you said, I feel like every dream is possible and you never know what's possible if you're not going to work towards it. But also recognize the whole idea of the yet. Like, I'm not there yet. I don't have a spot on that team yet. Do I want to keep working on it? Or do I want to shift and pivot my goal to go in a different direction, that I can play basketball in a different direction? And that's okay too. It's not a failure. It's just a pivot of your dream. Because if we all were working on our dreams that we had when we were 5 years old, we would be very different people. It's okay to evolve, and
we might be better people. We might be better people
as you grow up and change what's important to you.
And on that little piece there, I want to throw a little more in, like a second in there. that, you know, when you do that, you also maybe experience something in that what you're about to bow out, and you got exposed to something else that you truly are going to be great at. And that's when you
Yeah.
truly recognize. I believe in like every new beginning came from another beginning's end. You became today
Yes.
because of what you got here, and you know, like Robert Frost, the fork in the road, and you got on that road and you meant to go to the right, but you got there and you're like, you know what, I think I'm better here. So you know, that's not quitting. That is just
Yes. I agree.
that is navigation right there.
Yeah.
That is navigation. All right, we're coming close here, so we're on segment 5. So your books, and we're getting to the end
Okay.
here because when production's going to start screaming at me. Your books give kids tools, not just stories. Reflection, strategies, ways to understand how they're truly feeling. How important it is to introduce those tools early so that the anxiety just doesn't get bigger. So, what say you on that? How are people going to introduce your books and those tools? And feel free to plug your book and where they can get these in this moment here.
Okay. It is important for parents to teach your children about mental health because, to take anxiety, for example, it's healthy to feel anxious when you're doing something that's really important to you. If you don't have anxiety before a big performance or before you take a big exam, it might not be that important to you. So it's healthy to have this anxiety, and it's important because it's healthy for all children to be aware of coping skills and things that they can do to feel calmer so that they can perform their best. So I think it's really great for parents to use these books to start the conversations with their children, and then to have some coping strategies they can practice with their children at home to see if that can reduce their level of anxiety. Or, you know, if I have books on friendship skills also. So to say, oh, well, in the book, this is what happened. Have you tried something like that? Did you like her approach in talking to her friend? Would you approach your friend in a different way? Let's talk about how you would approach your friend, so that they have the skills ready for when they're in the real life environments with their peers or working through mental health struggles.
You know, I want to throw a little piece in that because what you just said is going to jump the whole segment. So I'm just going to dump it right in.
Okay.
Anxiety is different for every child. That was a whole, you just added a whole other segment into this one. It worked well. That's why there was no direct follow from her. Anxiety is different for every child. So as you were just saying with the tools, some of these tools are simple and reliable for one child.
Right.
Not for everyone. So how do you do this to regain calm and control? For each child is not the same, as we know. So there we just jumped the whole seat carry. We jumped the whole segment. So you're going to get your time in there. So what say you, Jennifer?
So that is why it's important for children to try different coping strategies, and for parents to know that there are different coping strategies, because there are, you know, deep breathing exercises, there's creative outlets, there is exercise, there's a lot of coping strategies. But if you only introduce to your child, well, you should journal every day, you should journal, and that should be how you reduce your stress. If you have a child that doesn't like writing, that's going to feel like a whole nother assignment to them, and they're going to feel like, well, there's nothing I can do, I'm just not going to feel better. So that's why it's important that you as a parent have some of these resources like books, so that you can say, well, okay, remember in the book, this person didn't like journaling, but this person did. And this other person liked deep breathing or liked exercising every day. So to know as a parent that you have some more information in your toolkit, and to also talk about what works well for you as a parent to reduce your stress, or when you're feeling down, if you're talking about depression. So yeah, just having these resources so you as a parent can have them ready to share with your child if they're feeling like the first strategy they didn't work for them.
Right.
Well, Jennifer, what's something a kid can do right away when they feel anxious?
Yeah, like the here and now. Yeah, like at this moment. They're listening to you maybe, or the parents listening, and they're going to pass off your information to them. Because we're coming close to the end, like minutes away, and I want to make sure that the good information, the nugget that everybody needs, is right here.
Well, the The tip that I tell most parents to start as the first strategy is the deep breathing, and to use a specific deep breathing strategy. The one I normally tell parents and children to use is the 5-finger deep breathing. So you breathe up, and then you hold your breath at the point of your finger, and then you exhale. And you trace your finger, which allows students or children to do that wherever they are. Because
every age group. Yes.
While you're taking a
test. Say that one more time for the folks at home. Describe it one more time very clearly for the folks listening.
That felt good.
And for the folks watching, hold your hand up.
That felt good.
Hold your hand up for the folks.
So you take your hand and you breathe in as you go up your finger. Then you hold your breath for 3 seconds. And then you exhale down as you trace down the side of your finger. And you do that for each of your fingers. You breathe in deep and then hold it for 3 seconds and then breathe out. And you
everybody in the room's doing this with you.
I know.
Everybody's doing this with you. Carrie, are you doing that over there? Are you doing that with us, Carrie?
Make sure you watch your stomach move in and out. Make sure that you tell your child to watch your stomach move in and out. So it's deep breath.
I go to the gym and martial arts.
Shallow breath.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. You know, I want to tell you that you got me on this one. I'm very rare that I think somebody got me. Did you create that? Because I've never seen that actual one. Because if you did, you're a genius and you need to put that in writing and own that. Is that yours?
I wish I did.
Finger trace. I've never seen it anywhere. I would lie.
Yes.
Lie. You're fulfilling. You're fulfilling. Lie. I'm here. I heard it. You made it up. I heard you say it 10 years ago at a conference.
Oh boy.
All right. So last section, rapid fire. A 2-second answer.
Okay.
Boom, boom, like fire here. And then we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
What made you write the book, Jen?
I wrote the book because I was working at a high school as a counselor and had an anxiety group for kids. And I felt like it would be a really great resource when kids aren't ready to be vulnerable and talk about themselves, to talk about the characters and learn from the characters in that way.
Boom. Bianca, hit it.
All right. Why do kids need to understand anxiety?
Quick, fast. You're on the pressure point. It's like everybody wants to be a millionaire. It's you.
They need to understand anxiety because everyone will feel anxious.
Why is anxiety growing in kids every day?
Anxiety is growing in kids because of the social media, because of all the pressures in our world, because of everything they're exposed to at such a young age. And life is just moving so fast now as opposed to generations past.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. You know, Jennifer, this was wonderful. One last thing that you're going to give everybody out there, because this is for the people listening, for the parents, the teachers, the coaches, and maybe even students and future leaders, future students, future anything that are listening right now, wherever they are or watching. What are the most important changes that they themselves can do immediately to reduce pressure, stress on themselves, on their students?
To focus on your mental health, to focus on making it a safe place where you can talk about mental health and can talk about having good days and bad days, and that your 100% on a Monday is going to be different than it is on Thursday, and to give yourself grace and to model that for all the children that you interact with so that they can take that as their own too and give themselves that grace to know they're not always going to feel 100%. And that's just part of the human existence. We don't all feel 100% all the time.
No, we don't. And speaking of the human existence, here comes your human question.
Yes. What's one small thing a parent can do today to help their kid feel better?
To help them feel better, I would say to introduce coping strategies and to prompt your child to try the coping strategies every single day. If you do it every day, you will know how to do it so that your body responds to it, and you'll reduce your overall stress level every day by doing a coping strategy.
Outstanding.
And
Jennifer Licate.
it'll be easier for you to go to it.
Jennifer Licate, I thank you. We thank you. You are a wonderful guest. You are a world of information. I want to give you a couple seconds to let everybody know in closing how they can reach you, how they can get your books. We will be having the link in the episodes available everywhere you can get the show. The links for your books. We take nothing from that. That's, we can do that for you. But tell them how they can reach you, how they can learn more, where they can go. Give them whatever information you want. Just know that a lot of people are going to hear.
Okay, great. My website is storiesbyjennifer.com. That has all my books and the links of where to buy it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or through my publisher, Boys Town Press. I'm on Instagram and Facebook with the same handle of Stories by Jennifer or Stories by Jennifer Licate.
Wonderful. Quick question. Boys Town Press. Any connection to Boys Town itself?
Boys Town in Nebraska?
Yeah.
Yes, that's where it's based.
Oh, wow. I did something with them in Catholic school. Wonderful.
Oh.
You can get me lost on that. I got a story on the original
great.
priest from there. I did a summer program. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful. Oh, you got me good. That was good. You got me there because I saw that in your books and I saw that and it floated by and I'm like, nah, that is amazing. Don't go anywhere in the green room. We thank you again for being here. It was lovely, lovely, lovely. And yep, we thank you. So stay in the green room.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Okay. Well, folks, here's the truth, America. Abuse survives because silence is convenient. Silence is convenient. Silence protects your reputation. Silence protects your comfort. Step out of your comfort zone. Silence protects power. Sometimes for the powerful and for the powerless. Yeah. And silence is never neutral. And it will never leave you. And we want to leave you with this. Strength isn't pretending everything is fine. It's not. Trust me, I can tell you. Strength is knowing something changed you and having that discipline, that human fortitude from within to know that that is not what is going to define you tomorrow. What has defined you today is your experiences that you've been through. And what defines you tomorrow is how you handle those experiences, internalize them, and turn them into a future. Also, make sure you check out my other shows, The National Report and Eric A. Cinotti Unplugged. Follow them, stay connected, stay informed. All of my shows are iHeart Prime featured shows I host across every major podcast platform. So always remember this. 360 times 365. 360 degrees. 180 forward, folks. 180 backwards. That equals 360 for my non-mathematicians. Times 365 days a year. Keep your head on a swivel, always moving, because danger is not going to take a day off, and neither should you. This is the Hostile Zone. I'm Eric A. Cinotti. Have a good night, America.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the balls bursting out, get through the night, that our flag was still there.
And she's not going anywhere.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave for the